email?
Preparing. All right. We're going to assume we're live. So
Yep. Yep.
give it just a second. It says it's setting up the meeting. So if they catch us a little bit in the beginning, it's still setting up everybody.
Okay.
And now we're going live. And yeah, it just did. All right. Welcome to the podcast, Living by Oak Values. I'm Rob, and I'm here with my good friend and co-host, better known as the Superior Mailman. Yep, he delivers more than just your bills. He actually is here to deliver some real talk and solid values. And some questionable jokes. And today's show, we're going to talk about emotional intelligence and where it meets life's at a poker game. We don't just talk about knowing how to hold them and when to fold them. We're learning to live it. We're going to share stories that change us, moments that teach us, and of course, plenty of laughs to remind you and us that life is just one game at a time. Whether you've been with us since day one or you're just now stumbling across us, welcome to the crew. We're glad you're here.
And hey,
And
before you forget, grab your free toolbox and stay updated at northmancoaching.com. It's like a subscription to Common Sense with a side of sarcasm. We're real, raw, and ready to rebuild. Tonight, or today, we're bringing it live. Let's dive in and make this one unforgettable. We are diving into emotional intelligence and why the lack of can keep you as your own prisoner. So, Rob, have you ever taken a life lesson from a song?
yes, one of my favorite singers is Louis Armstrong, and he does "What a Wonderful Life." And I used to think it was like a great, great song, but now I really enjoy it more because it is about being optimistic in life and what wonderful things.
Okay.
Um, During my dark divorce period, all these guys kept saying, take a step forward, take a step forward. And one song that I listened to a lot more was the I Will Survive song.
By Gloria Gaynor.
Yes, yes.
Gotcha.
And it's just because everybody said, keep going, keep taking a step forward, keep taking a step forward. And that song kind of was like, keep going song. So, yeah.
Gotcha. As far as taking a life lesson from a song, I don't know if it's a life lesson or not, but the only song I could think of that was not related to this work or my divorce would be "We Didn't Start the Fire" by Billy Joel. That taught me a lot about history.
Yeah.
So not so much a life lesson, but definitely helped me in school with history. Not as deep as your answer, but whatever.
Yeah.
So, would you ever take life advice from a poker player?
No.
Okay. And why is
I
that?
uh, I always thought poker players were not telling the truth. I thought that's the whole game was not telling the truth.
And I agree with you 100% until we did all the notes and stuff on this episode. And I think that I would definitely consider taking life advice from the right poker player.
Mm. And what does a right poker player look like to you?
He's an older man with a beard. Maybe no. The right poker player is someone who knows the game. Now that we've done this work, like so, someone who knows how to read faces, someone knows when to hold things and when to throw things. So,
All right, story time. We were at this retreat up in Idaho at Redemption Rock,
mm-hmm.
and you never played the game with Steve, the Monopoly deal.
Right.
He is the master poker player at that game.
Yeah, you're
He
right.
was reading people. He was telling people things that he knew it would throw them off. He knew they would question it. He knew their experience, and he knew the right things to say. He knew how to read their faces, read the cards, and he truly was the master poker player at that house.
Yes.
That's why John and Lonnie always called it like "sick it to him, Steve" Saturdays. So, because it was just
So I
he was
wouldn't
just so
play.
good. He wins all the time, and
Uh,
it's because he's a
right.
poker player.
So I wouldn't play with him, but I would definitely take life advice from him.
Oh,
Taking advice from him would make me a winner. Playing against him would probably make me a loser.
but you're learning from him.
But I learned from him. Yeah, you're right.
Every time you play a game from him, you learn just a little bit how he's reading faces or a little bit how he's playing this game.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, I've played a lot with him, and he wins 90% of the time. But then you also start seeing his strategy. Just like in the song we're about to talk about, there are strategies to playing poker. There's
Oh, absolutely.
strategies to watching a master play.
So, all right. So I'm not a poker player. I have played a few times, and
Yeah.
I always thought that poker was about. I think you actually just said this about lying, pretty much.
Yeah.
Whether I could fake you out thinking I had good cards when I really don't. But
Mm.
for an ex nice guy who used to lie all the time, I am terrible at poker. So I guess I'm just a bad liar.
Well,
So,
you might be. Yeah.
so Rob, what does know when to hold them and know when to fold them teach you about emotional self control?
I would not have known it at all because I didn't know my emotions and how to do that. I was not a very smart emotional person. So emotional self-control was not something I thought it was just like don't pitch a fit screaming in the grocery store aisle kind of kid. You can't control your kid. They're screaming, they're pitching a fit, waving their little give me what I want. I thought that was emotional self-control.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Um, but now it's more like when to it's almost like a regulator or like when is it time to express your happiness or sadness or when is it the the understanding of why you're happy, why you're calm, how to get there if you need to get there.
Mm.
I was in the woods this past weekend and I stumbled across something and I saw it and I was just emotionally like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And it took me by surprise. And I was like, and at first I was like, how do I handle this? And I had to stop and think. I was like, holy cow, how did this happen?
Mm.
And it, after walking back down the mountain, I had to emotionally decompress and self-regulate myself to say, hey, be calm about this. Be calm about this. I mean, I was super excited, but I had to stay calm so that I didn't like fall down the mountain trying to run down the mountain going, "Oh shit, look what I did," kind of deal. So,
Gotcha. So pretty much, so you did not know when to hold them or when to fold them prior to this. Now you do.
no, I hadn't yeah, no. I was a negative person who I pitched a fit, but I pitched it so that I expected, that I was having an emotional breakdown.
Okay. Hmm. Interesting.
Does
So
that
for
make
me, I
sense?
never knew when to hold them or when to fold them. I was similar to you. I had no emotional control. I didn't even know what emotions were for the most part.
Hmm.
I knew happy, sad, and angry, I guess. And there was a lot of sad and a lot of angry in my life prior to this work. And I feel like now that I do have emotional control, things are a lot better because when I'm upset with something, let's say it's you for some reason, I know not to blow up. I know to sit
Mm.
back, process it, feel it, and am I really upset with you, or am I upset with something that I have done? Like, what's my part in the whole thing? So Yeah, I feel like now I have control, and it makes my life a whole lot happier because I don't blow up unless
Yeah.
I absolutely need to, which is I haven't yet. Since I've been doing this work, I really haven't blown up yet. So,
Well,
so Rob,
awesome.
what is one moment when in your life when you had to fold to emotionally protect your peace?
I actually have two, but one stood out, especially when you said fold them to protect your peace.
Okay.
Um, it was 3 years ago on the mountain in Asheville. Me and you were hiking in the middle of a snow blizzard, whatever it was,
Yes.
about to die going up this mountain. And I get up on this mountain and I was like, fuck, I'm gonna die on the way down. What are you talking about? Um, I'm gonna break a hip sliding all over the place. But up there, I realized I had to close the chapter on my past marriage and start a new chapter. I
Mm,
had to fold that page over and say, I am done with this chapter of my life. Now it's time to start a new chapter.
okay.
And it had to protect my peace because I had it open. I was worrying about it. I was thinking about it all the time. It gnaws at you when you leave that chapter book open.
Mm.
But when you close it and you say, "Hey, it is now time to start a new chapter," and it's actually been the better chapter to rewrite or to
Yeah.
write.
So along with emotional intelligence, that kind of sounds like forgiveness and acceptance,
Mhm. Yeah.
which would be the pretty much the moment that wow, this is all tying in pretty crazy that you let go of resentment. So by
I didn't
folding,
quite completely let go of resentment, but I was it was on the process.
but you had closure for the most part. You were ready to move on. It
Yes.
seems like by closing that chapter, you had either forgiven yourself or your ex-wife, if not both. I'm not sure,
Yeah.
but they're all kind of tying in together, you know. So
Yeah. Yeah. So going back to the song, uh, what is the song? The
gambler.
Gambler. Sorry. Yeah. What do you actually think he meant? Like, if you were to get deep down into the line about knowing when to hold them and knowing when to let it go.
Well, he's talking about I would say something about the wisdom and staying composed. You know, knowing when to walk away, but not out of weakness, out of control. Like
Mm,
this is not for me, so I'm going to walk away.
mm,
It's also about the right time to exit a conversation or a relationship. Because if you feel like your emotions are going to spiral out of control, then you no longer have emotional intelligence. So if you are intelligent emotionally, you will know when to walk.
mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I do it with family members. I have some family members that know how to push my buttons. And at first, I just stayed away because they knew how to push my buttons. But it's now more that I'm self-regulating how much time I spend with them. And when I am with them, they don't push my buttons as much because I know that they're this I know that I have the power to control my emotions.
Okay, that's good.
Uh,
So when life gets messy, how do you decide what emotions or relationships to hold on to and let go of?
Ooh, that's a hard one. That that's I don't know that I'm 100% there. It sounds like a superpower sometimes because it's like I have to stop myself constantly and it is like when I catch myself like have you ever been in like a where there's a lot of beeping and a server room and all these noises are going on? There's a lot of chaos going around you. And it's like your head is just filled with all this sorts of information and things. I have to stop myself and say, wait, is this what you really feel? And I have to step back and say, does this need to waste your time? Or is this unnecessary?
Mm. Okay.
And are you getting angry because of what that person did, or are you getting angry because it triggered something within you from the past?
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's almost like when it happens, I have to say stop, think about it, redirect. Is this it almost like a tool? I need a
Okay.
tool to help me with my emotions. So,
Hmm. Okay. Hmm.
but I also have to find that I have to be very honest with myself because sometimes the first thing is it's Gary's fault. But is it really Gary's fault?
Always
And
my
then I
fault.
have to stop myself. Am I pissed at Gary, or is Gary doing what he naturally does and I'm just jumping the gun? You see?
Right. I got you. I got you. Sure. So as far as when life gets messy for me, I couldn't. I just know that if I'm running around in circles trying to maintain a relationship,
Mm,
then it's time to let go.
mm.
So
Do you pick up on like little verbal cues or facial expressions? Like
absolutely.
those are things in emotional intelligence that I used to not be able to do at all.
So I'm not great at it. I actually feel like I almost have a sense of intuition, but I
Hmm.
definitely emotional cues like if your arms are crossed or your hands are in your pockets, and this goes back to our episode on empathy. I think
Yes.
uh, you know you can really read people and what they're thinking by the way they look at you or don't look at you. They're looking down, or they're not making eye contact, or their hands are in their pockets. So, like I said, arms folded. It comes off as something is off.
Hmm.
So, if you're talking to me and your hands are not in your pocket and you're looking at me, like I tend to talk with my hands sometimes. But so if your hands are moving, that's fine. But if your hands are in your pocket or your arms are crossed, you're coming off as closed.
Mm.
Um, and based on your facial expressions and whatnot, I can kind of get an idea, on picking up on your emotional intelligence.
No, you said that wrong.
What do you mean?
You said you're picking up on their emotional intelligence.
Or I mean, picking up on. Wow, you're right. I'm sorry. Picking up on what they're talking about and how it's making me
Yeah.
feel. So really, my emotional intelligence.
You're reading their moods and body
Right.
language. Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah. Because I was like, wait, you're very better at this than I am because you're picking up on how smart they are. I was like,
Yes, I can
damn.
read your emotional intelligence. That's my superpower.
I can tell. I'm like,
Yeah.
holy cow, that was actually pretty slick. So,
So, another line of the song. How does dying in your sleep at the end of the song? How is that about emotional peace and not just physical rest?
actually, at first, I thought it was about physical rest.
As
And
did
if
I.
you would have asked me before going through all this work, I would have said that's dying after retirement practically. You're just good to go, you're golden. It was just like, yes, it's nice. But even in the mountain, I remember telling you this weekend, you kept asking me where I'm going, and I'm saying, well, something's telling me to go in this direction.
That was the
And
time
you're
when you
like, what are
took
you
me to
talking
the
about?
lion's den, right?
Yeah, the time I walked into the lines again, you're like, what are you, what? And I just was like, I had a feeling to go that direction. It's not about controlling anything. And it was a sense of peace, not walking into the lion's den, but it's just like you get up there and you just walk around, not controlling where you're going, not trying to manifest anything, not trying to force anybody to see your point of view, and just let the world work through you.
Mm, that's deep, bro.
That is the peace that I think he's really talking about.
Peace with the unknown.
Peace with the unknown. Yeah.
Yeah. And you would definitely walk
That's a
into a
good way of
lion's
putting
den,
it.
and I did not have peace with the unknown there. I just thought I'm probably a faster runner than you, so I'm okay.
Yeah, yeah, that was fun because it was interesting. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But
So
this was a song that we listened to on one of the road trips up there.
one of them, the
And
only road.
Gary had asked me, "What do I think about emotional intelligence?" And I was like, "Well, I said it's like gambling, the gambler song. You know when to hold them, you know when to not hold them." I said because sometimes I get sometimes I get emotionally constipated and I don't know what to do. So I have to learn what to do. And so that's when Gary was like, "Oh my gosh, you're a genius." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he's over there going through this whole spiel of how this is the whole podcast is need to be about how emotional intelligence and a gambler.
Hmm.
And and this song doesn't really do it justice, but it's the thought. The it is almost like um, a masterclass
Yeah.
in emotional maturity, how
Yes.
to know yourself, how to know others, making wise decisions, and even like how to handle stuff under pressure.
Yes. Absolutely. And that
Yeah,
really is playing poker, though, if you think about
and it is. And if and I wish I had really gotten you to sit on that thing with Steve because
it. Mm,
Steve is the gambler in that game,
gotcha.
and he pulls some BS out of his butt, but at the same time, you would listen to him, you would watch him, you would take tips from him.
Yeah. And I would. I mean, I do. Like, I think he is a great man to go to for advice on life. But like I said in the
Mm.
beginning, I would never play poker or Monopoly Go with him because I will lose. So,
He's very, very good. But he plays all the time, and and it's almost like poker too. Is it's only one hand, one interaction, and then you get to do it again.
yep.
One interaction, and you get to do it again. Just like Monopoly Deal. It's an interaction, and guess what? The game starts again. You get another chance. You get another opportunity.
Well, that's life, right?
Yeah, it's
I
life.
mean, people. I think a lot of people don't even think about that. They think right now, this is it. I'm either doing good or I'm screwing up.
Hmm.
No one really thinks that. Well, a lot of people don't realize that there's another chance later on today, even tomorrow, another chance.
Yeah.
So if you're making a mistake right now this ties into what we talked about with mistakes. If you're making a mistake right now, learn from it because tomorrow you'll have another chance to do better.
Or even this afternoon. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But
So
as me and Gary were talking, we're going to make this into a class to in what was the way you expressed it?
I don't recall now, but I would say it's going to be a class to help you control your emotions. So if you are in an argument or in a discussion or conversation with, I guess I'd say with your partner, but it can be with anybody, you will know
Yeah,
how to control your emotions, how to listen properly, and know if it's time to walk away or if it's time to embrace what they're talking about. You know,
yeah, yeah.
it'll
And
give emotional clarity. How about that?
yes, thank you. I think that was, yeah. Well, and it is just, and it is actually one of those classes where I was like, Gary, women need it just as much as men need it.
Absolutely.
And you probably could take it together because it's like a class on life.
You know, it's funny that you said that because I agree, and I remember this conversation from the trip that we had said that both men and women should take this class. But now I'm thinking, with women being more emotional than men being logical, I wonder how difficult it would be to apply this work to someone who is emotional, constantly emotional. It's like it seems like a lot more work because you need to be more in control of your emotions,
And it could.
or
Well, yeah.
easier because women are masters of their emotions for the most part. They deal with them and live in the emotions so much they might be masters.
Yeah.
So it could be easier. I don't know.
But the other side of that coin is the fact that you know nothing. It might be easier to apply it versus saying, "Hey, I already know how to read the micro expressions in somebody's face,
Right.
but I don't know how to pause and take a breath and listen to somebody when they are trying to express it to me.
Right. Sure.
Yeah. It is a complicated subject, and that's why we were like, wow, this could be something great and beautiful. So,
I think it will be. I think it will truly be great and beautiful. It will help a ton of people.
yeah.
I wish there was
And
somebody like me making this stuff before when I needed it.
I know.
So,
And go ahead, go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say we have a list of short takeaways.
Yes.
Want me to go through them, or you want to go through them? I don't
Go
care.
ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
So from the song, know when to pause before reacting to an emotional trigger. So if something triggers you, you have to know to pause, to really think about things. You want to do the next one? You want me to
Oh,
fire through them?
another tip is, and this is probably what we're going to be putting in the course, is like when to speak your truth and when just to listen.
So when to speak the truth, what does that do? That ties right back into the 4 agreements.
Yes.
Be impeccable with your word. And then the
But
next,
there's a
what's up? Go ahead.
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, I
Keep
was just
going.
saying, the next takeaway is to know when to walk away from, well, we wrote toxic conversations, but really walk away from anything that's not suiting you.
Hmm.
And you don't really need an explanation for anything. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, if what we're
Eh,
talking about right now is not suiting me, I can walk away. Would I give you an explanation? I would. Do I owe it to you? I do not.
yeah.
So,
It ties back into the next tip, which is like know where your boundaries are and how to hold them and when to extend that grace. And that's what I'm learning lately is how and when to extend that grace. We did an episode 2 or 3 weeks ago on the boundaries and how important boundaries are.
yeah,
So
that was last week, wasn't it? Boundaries?
it was go back and listen to all of them. Find it for
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah, yeah. Go find it yourself. I'm done. Yeah, but boundaries.
Yeah.
And it's not even knowing when to hold your boundary. If it's a boundary, you should be holding it.
But it's when to extend grace.
Right, and that's the
When
important part.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
But when do you extend grace? We're gonna go right back into the last podcast.
I know we are. So
Well, I would extend grace if it's someone who's important to me. So if you cross a boundary by extending grace, I will just remind you as my boundary, and I would probably remind you twice before I did something about it. But I would definitely remind you.
mhm.
So
But if you have any questions, or if you have a friend that needs to a little know when to hold them, know when to fold them kind of life advice, tag a friend, send them this episode, share it with them. Um, and if you feel like you're needing a little help holding or folding stuff on your own, reach out to us. We have 101 sessions on our website, and we're here to help you master your emotional game. You can also catch us on YouTube and follow Gary, that superior mailman, on TikTok for more wisdom and real talk. Also, we have a men's group every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, where we dive into life's ups and downs together. Almost like the poker table. We would love to have you sit with us and join us.
how do I join the men's group?
Oh, Zoom on our website. There's a link under the events. Thanks,
There we
Rob.
go. So www.northmancoaching under events, and
Yep.
it's called Motivated Men.
Yes.
Anyway, so big things are coming to Living by Oak Values. We're gonna have new episodes, bold guests, and deeper conversations, plus more live shows and real-time chat. If you have a story or value that changed your life, we want to hear it. The next chapter is about you, so let's make it unforgettable.
And that's a wrap. We've spent a year building something real, and we're just now getting started. Today's episode reminded us that whether you're just at the poker table or at the table of life. Dang it. Wisdom starts with emotional intelligence. Know when to hold 'em and know when to fold 'em isn't just a catchy lyric. It's a life skill, one we're learning and living every day. Thanks for hanging out with us today on Living by Oak Values and walking the journey together. Year two is going to be even bigger, rooted deeper, and reaching higher. If you enjoyed today's episode, do us a favor, leave us a review, share it with somebody who needs it, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Until then, keep living, embracing your values, and stay authentic. And then we give it about 3 or 4 seconds and let me hit the in live stream session.